Isha Betsy Spider, the beginning of the legend, by Leslie. Get up, spin a web, wait around all day for flies. I need some adventure, Isha Betsy said to herself. She decided to go see her brother Harold. Harold was finishing his mid-morning snack of 3 naps. I need to do something, Harold, sighed Isha Betsy. Can you clean all the old webs out of my closet? Said Harold. Harold was a very practical spider. No, I mean have an adventure, said Isha Betsy. Like what? Asked Harold. I know. I'm going to climb the house. Squealed Isha Betsy, jumping up and down. Are you crazy? You can't do that, scoffed Harold. I can too, sniffed Isha Betsy. Off she went home to get ready. The next morning, bright and early, Isha Betsy strapped on her pack and set out for the house. As Isha Betsy neared the house, she gasped. It was the tallest, widest thing she had ever seen. Probably the biggest thing in the whole world. Even shading her eyes with her foot, she couldn't see the top. Isha Betsy started walking around the base of the house looking for a trail. She walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. There was not a trail anywhere. The house rose straight up into the sky. Isha Betsy was getting hot and thirsty when she spied a dark opening. Quickly she ran over to get a closer look. It appeared to be a tunnel. And it went right up the side of the house. Isha Betsy stepped into the opening of the tunnel. It was cool. It was also dark. It was a little creepy. But far in the distance, she could see a small square of light. Well, I wanted adventure, said Isha Betsy, taking a deep breath. She started up the tunnel. Isha Betsy climbed and climbed and climbed. The tunnel seemed to go on forever, but she always kept her eyes on the small square of light and kept on climbing. When she noticed the small square was getting darker. Soon she could barely tell the difference between the dark of the tunnel and the gray of the small square. Kaboom! Isha Betsy held onto the floor of the tunnel with all her feet as it shivered and shook. A wild summer storm had blown in. Crack! Kaboom! Lightning flashed and thunder rolled again. The sound of the storm was deafening. Isha Betsy was beginning to think this was a little more adventure than she wanted. Suddenly the floor of the tunnel was slick with moisture. Tiny drips of water soon became large waves crashing against her. Isha Betsy could no longer hold on against the flood. Down she tumbled through the torrent. With her feet down, finally choking, gasping, she was dumped into a puddle of mud at the end of the tunnel, exactly where she had started from. Isha Betsy caught her breath and slogged her way out of the mud over to a rhododendron bush. She flopped down under its leaves out of the rain. She was so exhausted that she laid her head down in front of her feet and went to sleep. Meanwhile, Harold was starting to get worried about Isha Betsy. Harold knew she longed for more than an ordinary spider's life, but she may have gotten a little more adventure than she could handle this time. He was a very practical spider, and the practical thing to do was go and look for Isha Betsy. So he set off to find her. bright beam of sunlight woke Isha Betsy from her nap. While she slept, the storm wore itself out. The wind broke up the clouds, and the sun had reclined the sky. Isha Betsy stood up, stretching the kinks out of her legs. All her joints seemed to be working. She inspected her pack. No rips, no tears. She eyed the house. Isha Betsy took a deep breath. She decided no problem like a little water was going to keep her from having adventure. She cinched the straps on her pack up snug and started up the tunnel again. Isha Betsy climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed, climbed and 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 climbed The tunnel seemed like it would never end. She climbed some more. Finally, she could tell that the square of light was getting bigger. Suddenly, she was at the end of the tunnel. The brilliant rays of the sun almost blinded Isha Betsy as she climbed from the dim tunnel onto the top of the house. She had made it. Her eyes adjusted to the bright light. She squealed in delight. Wow, Isha Betsy turned all around. She could see for miles and miles. Isha Betsy walked over to the edge of the house. She got a good foothold, leaning into the breeze. Her heart beat with excitement. Then, she jumped. Isha Betsy reached back and pulled the ripcord on her pack. The gossamer folds of the spider's silk parachute billowed up behind her. Carrying and wheeling in the warm breeze, Isha Betsy gently glided to the ground. Harold was just coming out of the tall grass at the edge of the house. When he heard a yell, he looked up just in time to see Isha Betsy jump. He gasped and held his breath. Then he saw the silvery parachute. What a wonder. Hooray, Isha Betsy, yelled Harold. Right up, Isha Betsy glided to the ground. He helped gather up the parachute. You did have an adventure. How did it feel? Stupendous! Giggled Isha Betsy. It was my first adventure, but definitely not my last. The next time Isha Betsy went climbing, Harold decided to have a little adventure in his life. He went climbing too. No reason you have to be a practical spider all of the time. Isha Betsy becomes the owner and operator of Arachnid Adventures Incorporated, a travel company for spiders.